Oh, hello.
Uh, can we show my face?
That's up to you.
Go for it. I want this to be as visceral as possible for you when you lose.
Yeah, go for it.
Let's see, how do I do that? Oh, here we go. Turn my camera on. Ew. Okay, hang on 1 second. I need to record this in case you try to delete it. Hang on 1 second. Okay. I'm recording in the other room. I think. 1 second. Hang on. Share system. Yeah. Okay. So, Peterson, thanks for having me on, bud. So here's the thing. You often like to go after Christians.
No,
Uh,
just their
we,
arguments.
we, so, whatever. You like to go after Christians, but here's the
Nope,
thing.
just their arguments.
Atheism is fundamentally immoral.
You could argue it's amoral, but not immoral.
It is immoral, yes.
You could
So,
argue it's amoral, but not immoral.
so here's the thing. On what basis are you more moral than a Nazi? Because if you're not, would you agree that if you're not more moral than a Nazi, then your morality isn't worth much?
Yeah, probably. So everything they believed in was literally false. So if you're going to try to base some sort of meta ethics on things that literally aren't true, then it's not rational and it can't possibly be the grounding for anything.
So this should be really easy. On what ultimate basis are you better than a Nazi?
So did you so before you change the subject, did you understand anything that I just said?
This should be simple, bud. On what ultimate basis are you better than a Nazi?
So we can change the subject once you
No, I'm
actually
not,
engage with your first point.
sweetie,
So
I'm not changing the subject. On what
yes, you
ultimate
are.
basis?
So the reason that literally almost any other standard would be better than what they said is nothing that they believed in was true. So if you're going to base a meta
Many of
ethics on
many
things
of
that are
the
literally
things,
false, how can
many
it
of
possibly be said to be good in any way?
many of the things they believed were true.
Like what?
They
Which
perceived
Nazi ideas do you think are true?
natural selection. They simply followed the
They
natural
did
selection
not
of the animal
they did
kingdom.
not believe in natural selection.
Of course they did.
No, they didn't.
They believed in natural selection, and they believed that the weaker conquers the lesser. And
That's not natural selection. That's
that
some
is
like perversion of like manifest destiny or something else. But no, they were fervently against it. They kicked people out of their country that believed in it.
okay. So just to get back to the question here, on what ultimate basis are you better than a Nazi? This should be really easy since you said that
Right.
Nazis
So
are immoral.
again, the things that they purported to ground their like meta ethics or whatever in are literally false. So
Okay,
uh,
so
if somebody's
why
trying
ought
to, yeah, I'm almost done. If somebody's trying to ground whatever they believe in things that are literally false, what good can it possibly? How can it possibly be said to have any real value? You haven't answered that response yet. You've tried to switch the subject.
why ought we believe? What is the moral value in believing that things that are true? Why ought I do that?
Are God's commandments
Think real
true?
hard about this. Think real hard about this. Why ought I do things that are true?
Are God's
Uh-oh.
commandments true? Are you literally arguing that we shouldn't follow something just because it's
Changing the
true?
subject? Are you changing the subject?
You're
I
extremely
asked you.
quiet. Dude, I can barely hear you. I
Sorry.
don't know what kind of microphone setup you're
Oh,
using, but I can barely hear
sorry.
you.
Sorry. So, why ought we? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's a little
Can you
better.
hear me? Why ought we believe things that are true?
Why ought we?
Yeah.
Are you trying to derive an ought from an is?
I'm just looking for any kind of a basis. You believe that you're more moral than a Nazi, so on what basis are you more moral than a Nazi? It should be pretty simple.
That the yeah, like I said, one of the biggest things is the stuff that they grounded their like worldview in is literally false. And if you're trying to tell me that, why should we? Well, anyways, go ahead.
Sorry.
And interesting.
So why ought I believe things that are scientifically true?
Why it doesn't have to be scientifically true. If you have an objective in mind, then the truth is the only possible way you're going to get to that objective, unless your objective is to lie to people, I suppose.
Okay. So this should be pretty easy for you. Just to move on to the next subject. On what ultimate basis? On what basis are you better than a Nazi? Because you claim to be better than a Nazi.
I literally have answered it several times. I'm not going to answer it another time.
What? No, sorry. Remind me on what basis you are better than a Nazi.
If you can't remember, that's your fault.
So you can't answer the question?
I have answered the question multiple times.
So you are better than a Nazi because none of the things that they believe are true.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Okay.
But also the things that they believed in violated the sovereignty of the individual.
Oh, the sovereignty of this should be good. Why ought individuals be sovereign?
Why ought individuals be sovereign? What right do you have to violate somebody else's sovereignty?
What right do you have to say that individuals can't have their sovereignty violated?
Okay, so the question is, what right do you have to violate the sovereignty of another individual?
What is sovereignty? Where did that come from? Why does that exist? Prove that. You're collapsing, dude. Your whole world.
No, it's not. You just keep saying this is one of the most sophomoric philosophical techniques that people have. It's like the Jordan Peterson technique of it depends on what you mean, but by is and suffering and blah blah blah. So you're not engaging with anything. You change the subject every single time I respond to something, and then your ultimate goal is just to I don't know, LARP as some sort of like postmodernist that says literally nothing is true.
Sweetie, you just asserted the sovereignty of humans. Prove that.
That humans have sovereignty? Humans are discrete, individual, living entities.
You asserted something about the sovereignty of human something or other. Please prove that.
Prove what? That human beings exist? That they are discrete, living entities?
No, you referred to the sovereignty of human beings. I don't remember exactly how you put it. So why don't we approach things from this way?
Do you care if somebody else joins us or not?
I'd prefer not to.
That's fine.
So why don't you? So are you an atheist or are you a humanist? Why don't you just put forward like what is your belief system?
Atheism isn't a belief system.
It is though. Like it is?
It's not. I don't think you even know what atheism is.
So it is. Atheism, materialism, humanism, it's all kind of a big mash of beliefs that you guys generally believe. So it actually is a belief system.
Atheism is not a belief system. It's a way of describing people that don't have a particular belief system.
Okay, so let's do this. What is your belief system?
When it comes to what?
Life.
Life, it exists. I believe that life progresses through Darwinian evolution and natural selection.
Okay.
That's one thing I believe in.
Okay.
So do you have a worldview that is entirely wrapped around the fact that you don't think unicorns exist?
So let's do this.
Men of God, answer the question.
You said
do you have a particular specific worldview that is wrapped around the concept of whether or not unicorns exist?
So you can't answer a simple question for me. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm asking you a simple question.
You believe in Darwinian evolution.
Okay. So if you keep acting like a jackass, this is what's going to happen. Okay? You asked a question, I responded. I'm asking you a question. Do you have a particular specific worldview that is wrapped around the idea of whether or not humans exist? Go ahead and unmute yourself whenever you want and answer that question.
If I answer this question, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I said that's how it works.
Okay, my answer is no. So here I have a question for you.
Great. And
According to
atheism
Darwinian
is not a
evolution,
worldview, just like
no, no,
you
no.
don't have a worldview
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
based on
Said I could ask a
unicorns
question.
not existing. Atheism
You said I
isn't a
could-
worldview.
You said I could ask a question.
Now you know.
You said I
Yeah,
could.
I had to
okay.
finish my thought. I didn't ask you another question.
Okay. According to Darwinian natural selection, which you believe in,
Bungled this so badly.
according to Darwinian natural selection, which you believe in, on what basis would it be wrong for me to kill every other human being, take as many women as I want to rape as possible, drive
There is no moral framework in Darwinian evolution, so this is a non-starter.
Exactly. And so, on what basis are you more moral than a Nazi?
So, do you believe that 2 + 2 = 4?
Yes.
On what basis of that do you think that the Nazis were wrong?
It's unrelated to Nazism.
There you go. There
But
you
yours
go.
actually
You
is
get
related.
it.
You're
You actually get something. That's
You
hilarious.
just said that you have no issue with someone driving around in a tank and doing whatever they want. So on what basis is that wrong?
No, I didn't. I said that I wouldn't base it on Darwinian evolution, although you could make an argument for it, because a species that actively goes around trying to destroy itself is obviously not going to be a successful species. And actually, quite a lot of what we know about human beings is that, well, I mean, we clearly are an integral social species. And so there are all these questions about does natural selection favor psychopathy? Does it favor people that are freeloaders and do whatever they want? And it doesn't at all.
So on what basis would it be wrong? On what basis would it be wrong for me to drive around in a tank, kill whoever I want, and try to take over the world? On what basis, according to Peterson, would that be wrong?
I am not I didn't invent any moral frameworks, and evolution doesn't contain a moral framework. So again, this is kind of a non-starter.
Exactly.
Again, I
Exactly.
went back to the fact that it would violate the sovereignty of the individual earlier. If you don't think that the sovereignty of individuals is important, then okay, you're kind of weird.
On what basis ought we believe in the sovereignty of the individual?
On what
This is where the collapse
do
happens.
humans exist?
This is where the collapse happens, Peterson.
Do humans exist?
They do exist. On where do you get the idea of the sovereignty of the individual?
Does a human like what are you talking about? If a human being exists and you violating their sovereignty basically means you take over some aspect of their life, you are violating their sovereignty. The basis of it is...
Why is that wrong?
Sorry?
Go ahead. Sorry, why is that wrong?
Why is it wrong to violate somebody else's sovereignty?
Yes.
Let's just pretend that I don't know or I don't have an answer. What's your answer?
You don't have an answer.
Just pretend that I don't, and then tell us what the answer is.
That's your whole worldview, that we can't violate the sovereignty of the individual. You don't even have a basis for it? Like, come on, dude.
Just pretend that I don't. What is the answer? Because you're not going to actually have an argument here.
I have an argument that you have not proved. According to your worldview, there's nothing wrong with driving around in a tank and killing people.
Then tell us why then give us the actual answer.
I just want people to get the gravity of why your moral system is toilet paper, because you have no issue with people driving around in a tank killing people. You have no issue with that, Peterson.
Yes, I do. It violates the sovereignty of the individual. But
Why
anyways,
is it wrong? Why is it wrong
just
to violate?
tell us the answer then. Why is it wrong
to violate this? Why is it wrong to violate the sovereignty of the individual?
Just go with this. I don't know. You tell me.
Okay, so you have no moral system. You have no basis to say that.
Again, assume that that's
immorality.
true. Now tell us the answer.
You have no basis on which to say that that individual that we should not violate the
Yes,
sovereignty of
you've
the
said
individual.
that 5 times now. Now
Okay.
give us the actual answer, what you think it is.
Okay. Because we're made in the image of God.
What does that mean?
It is God has imbued humanity with His image, and they're
And why
more
is that?
important than
And why is
plants.
that? So therefore, why should that be the basis?
Because I think it should.
Okay, ready? I think we just simply shouldn't violate the sovereignty of an
Okay. Okay.
individual.
I'll give you a little more.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, so is
I'll give you.
morality according to you? Wow.
Okay.
So if that's permissible, then it's permissible for me to simply say, I think we shouldn't.
Okay. I'll give you a little bit
Man,
more
except mine's going to be based
because
on like the individual and its capacity to actually
right.
suffer, and yours is just going to be based on your personal beliefs. So, anyways,
Okay.
keep going.
Okay. I'll give you a little bit more
Sure.
because fulfilled revelation, miracles, the witness of the Bible. There's tons of evidence, I believe, that God existed back then and exists now. And
I have evidence that humans exist, and if they do not peacefully cooperate together, then the species will destroy itself.
but
So, why
why?
is yours better?
But why ought we have the species continue?
Is God good?
He is good.
So we ought to follow God because he is good?
Yes.
You are deriving an ought from an is. Congratulations.
I am deriving an ought from the word of God.
Yeah, an is. Yeah, you are deriving an ought from an is. Even if you think that your clever questions get to some like dead end with me or whatever, the biggest
Well, they
issue
already
is you are guilty of the exact same thing.
not really. I actually
No,
have an
yes,
objective.
really. You are
I
deriving oughts from
so
is, for
so I
example.
have an objective basis. You have a subjective
No, you
basis.
don't. I don't think you actually even know what
Okay.
objective is.
Okay, sweetie. Explain to me what you think objective is.
I wrote it down.
Okay. Uh-oh. Did he disappear? What happened?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just something happened on my phone. So I wrote this down ahead of time because I thought it would be brought up. Objective means not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in considering and representing facts.
Yes. That is God's morality.
In what way is that
It,
God's morality?
in the morality presented in Jesus and Christianity, it is objective and it is unchanging.
How is it objective? It
It,
obviously changes because we had to have an entire new covenant brought about. But how is it objective?
no, actually, nothing changed. It was more like it was kind of more like Old Testament is part one, New Testament is part two. We didn't really see the full
Wow.
revelation of God until Jesus came. So nothing is
So it
inaccurate or
changed.
nothing is wrong in the Old Testament, but the full expression of God's will did not come until the New Testament. But you also have not answered the question of where you get your objective morality from, if you even believe
We're
that you have.
pretending that I literally don't get it from anywhere, and we're trying to see if you have a solution to this.
I do. It is the morality of Jesus.
Right. So in what way is it objective? That's what we're talking about.
It is unchanging. It is from God. It stands outside of time.
That's
It's
not
not
the
based.
definition of objective.
It's not based on any kind of human opinion or reason. It is. It stands static and outside of time.
So God has reasons for commanding things.
Yes.
So then we can appeal to reason and we don't need God. Just like the rational stance of, well, humans have a sovereignty that shouldn't be violated, and there are all these reasons why we can discover and describe why that is beneficial not just to the individual but the entire group. We can use reason. Secular humanists who believe in like some kind of objective morality or whatever do the same kind of thing because they have an objective in mind.
I would argue everybody uses reason. My reason has led me to Jesus.
Cool.
So you said, do you believe that you have objective morality?
I'm not really sure.
Okay. So you believe that morality is subjective.
I said I'm not really sure. I know that yours is.
Okay. So you believe that would you say your morality is subjective?
I said I'm not really sure, but I know that yours is.
Okay. So
Can I,
you're
can
not
I ask a
sure.
question?
Yeah.
Okay, like is murder wrong? I have to ask you two questions. So like, is murder wrong, for example?
It is wrong for, so it depends on what we mean by murder. Murder is the unjust taking of life, and it is wrong for humans to unjustly take lives. I already see where you're going with this. It is not.
I wasn't gonna ask you about what if God kills
Okay.
somebody,
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
but what you just said is that the implication for what you just said is that God can do unjust things.
It's
God
not
is allowed
unjust.
to do unjust things.
It's not unjust when he does it.
But you just said that it's wrong when a human unjustly takes another life.
Yes,
Is
that's
it
what
wrong
murder
when
is.
God unjustly takes another life?
He's never unjustly taken a life.
Then why did you say it that way?
We can say things lots of ways, but God has never unjustly taken a life.
There, okay, so whatever. Okay, so murder is objectively wrong? That's what you're saying.
It is objectively wrong for humans, yes.
Okay, does God know that it's objectively wrong?
Uh, it is not objective morality applies to humans. It does not apply to God. He's the creator.
Okay,
When God kills somebody with
not
a
the
hurricane,
question, not the
when
question
God
at
kills
all.
somebody,
Is
sorry,
murder wrong? You said yes. I'm asking you, does God know that it's wrong?
no, I said that it's wrong for humans.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
So does
okay.
God know that?
God made the rule for humans. Yes,
Does he know that it's wrong?
He knows that it's wrong for humans. Yes.
Then it's objectively wrong, and we don't need God because it's independent of that.
There's
I
there's
think
quite a
that
bit.
people like you confuse objective and objectively. See, in your like for you, if God said, "Go and kill these people or I won't let you into heaven."
Mhm.
You can say that that's objectively the right thing to do because you're trying to get to heaven. That's your objective. But it's so I think that's possibly what happens with these conversations, although I'm not totally sure.
Well, there's quite a bit more involved in Christianity than just murder. There's love God, love your neighbor. I mean, you can't really limit it to just murder. You can't extricate that from religion because it's really about a relationship with God at the end of the day. But what I was asking you earlier is your morality subjective or objective?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, so let's say
I
that.
can tell you that it's true that when you violate somebody else's sovereignty, or I guess you don't like that phrasing, but when you like physically affect somebody or whatever, that actually causes like pain and suffering in the individual. That's true. I don't know if you
Many
don't think that that's true or what.
many dictators and many societies have lived very great lives by violating human sovereignty. On what basis are they wrong?
On the persons whose sovereignty they were violating.
Who cares about them from a naturalistic evolutionary point of view?
That sounds very much like something somebody like you would say.
No. I'm putting myself in your shoes. You said you believe in evolution and Darwinian natural selection. On what basis is it wrong to do that?
Evolution and natural selection is not a moral framework.
Agreed. It's not a moral framework. So why is it wrong for me to kill people who get in my way? Do you see how your worldview collapses, dude?
I I didn't even give you one in the first place. So
But you
I'm just trying to give you the fact. Like, is it objectively wrong to violate the sovereignty of an individual? Well, there are all these reasons why. So, like, again, what is your idea of objective? Is it that we have this objective in mind, or is it just that it's true? It is true that when you harm somebody, that causes them to feel stress and pain and go through all these things. Now, is the objective to not do those things, or is the objective for like the species to be? Well, we can say it's both objective and it would meet the objective that if people just went around acting ethically towards everybody and trying to extract whatever they want, then the population would fail. That is objectively true. So that's a fact of nature, I guess.
Right.
Fact of nature is kind of a weird way of putting it, but and now you're just going to say, well,
right.
anyways, you do your own talking, I guess.
Right. And many people throughout history have said, I don't care about the population. I don't care about other people. And so I would just ask you, what is your morality really worth if it can't objectively say that those people are wrong? Because you have subjective morality.
Let's just pretend it's worth nothing and tell me why yours is better.
Okay, do you see the flaw in a population of people getting together and agreeing on a morality? That is a flawed morality? Do you agree that a bunch of people getting together and agreeing on a morality together, just because a bunch of people agree on it, does not mean that it is an objective morality?
It depends.
Like, for instance,
is Christian morality good just because people believe it's good?
No. I believe in objective morality. Christian morality would be good even if nobody believed in it.
But you don't.
I don't what?
You don't believe in objective morality.
I do.
In what way is it objective?
It is God's morality is objective because it is not contingent on any human opinion. It doesn't change over time. It's not situational. My understanding of subjective morality is that it has to do with situational with the subject. It is viewed as by the subject. So subjective morality can be different from person to person to person, whereas objective morality is the idea, like Sam Harris has, that morality does not change. It is the same across the board, across the world.
Okay, so tell me something that's wrong.
According to me?
You can pick whatever you want.
Yeah, okay, yes, murder is wrong.
Okay, according to God, is it wrong?
According to God, yes.
Okay, what if God told you to murder somebody?
If God told me to murder somebody... Well, so if God were doing it, in a sense, it would not be wrong because murder is only...
You believe in subjective morality. There you go.
No, I don't believe in subjective morality.
Yes, you do. You're going to make an excuse for how something that you said is objectively wrong is not wrong if God tells you to do it. That's subjective.
It is wrong for humans. It is wrong for humans to murder without cause, like an unrighteous murder. That is why it is forbidden for humans to murder. Now, look, there are instances in which...
What if God told you to go murder somebody?
Well, it would be similar to like if I was killing a Nazi so that he didn't kill 10 more people. It would be righteous in that instance. So
how do you know that?
So like an American...
How do you know that?
So an American soldier dropping into...
How do you know that it would be like that?
Because to use the example of World War II, Nazis would have continued to kill people had the Americans not stopped them.
Yeah. So did God tell us to do that?
No. I'm just giving you an example of a righteous example.
So tell me why it would be. Now I forgot what we were even talking about. So I said, how would you know that if God told you to murder somebody, it would be objectively good?
Because it wouldn't be murder. Murder is killing.
How do you know that?
Because God decreed it, and God cannot do unrighteous things. He can't.
How do you know that?
Because God has never commanded an unrighteous act.
Says who?
Says evidence, history. So to get
okay, we're gonna pause. We're gonna pause right there. You can unmute yourself whenever you want, but I wanted to get a pause here. Okay, that was just unbelievable. Can Satan deceive people?
Hang on. To get back to murder, because I'm not done talking about murder. Murder is an unrighteous killing. Murder is an unrighteous killing.
Yeah, so if God told you to just go and kill a baby, you're telling me that it would not be murder. Now tell me why it wouldn't.
It wouldn't be unrighteous. It is
Great.
only unrighteous.
Now tell me why it wouldn't be.
Because it would be like an example of me killing a Nazi during World War II. It would be a righteous kill.
How do you know that?
It wouldn't be murder.
How do you know that?
In the moment, I wouldn't know it, but God has never committed murder.
So how do you know? You're just declaring that it wouldn't be based on nothing.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't know until afterwards, but all I know is that God has never murdered a single
No, you
person.
don't know that.
Situational. You're asking for a potential event that could happen and hasn't happened yet. So there's no way of us to determine whether it was righteous or not. But God can take life.
So you don't have an objective world. There's no reason for anybody to believe your worldview because you don't even know if following God's own commandments, if that's actually virtuous and objectively good.
Here's the issue. You didn't understand what the original claim was with regard to objective morality. Thou shalt not murder means you cannot unrighteously take life. So it is not a violation to righteously take life.
And how are we to determine whether or not it's being done righteously?
We don't know. We don't have God's perspective. Only God knows.
So if somebody just went around in a tank and started blanking off people, they could just claim that this is righteous because God is telling them to do it. See, earlier when you're like, your worldview doesn't allow you to pick and choose and say that this group of people are doing the wrong thing, neither does yours.
Of course it does. Because now if God...
all they have to do is claim that God is telling them to do it. And we won't know if it's wrong until after we die.
Nobody's going to believe them.
So what? Something isn't... You said that just because people get together and agree on something, that doesn't make it true. It doesn't matter if nobody believes them. A lot of people didn't believe Jesus. That's part of why he was crucified, I think.
So I would say you're picking a scenario that hasn't happened. So we're told from the Bible, thou shalt not kill. So until something changes that, we are to not kill people. And so
murder people.
Anybody who goes around in a tank, unlike atheists, it is wrong to kill people. Atheists have
You
no
don't
problem
know that
with
it's wrong. You just admitted that you have no idea until after we're dead if it's wrong. So you don't know.
No, it is. No, according to our objective morality, it is wrong.
But you don't know if what they're doing is objectively wrong.
No. You're asking for a specific situation in which God is asking somebody to kill somebody, which is outside of objective morality, which is not a man killing somebody. That is God killing somebody. And it doesn't have anything to do with that.
God telling somebody to go do something is not God killing somebody.
It is according to him. That is why when the nation of Israel killed people in the Old Testament, it was done righteously and it wasn't murder because God commanded it. Because it was not men killing other men. It was God commanding.
That sounds like something Satan would do.
I don't know. It's,
No, you don't know. That's the point. Exactly.
Well, but Jordan, you yourself said that you don't really have a reason to say that it's wrong to go around a tank. Sorry. Peters, what's your first name, by the way?
It's Eric.
Eric, you do not have a reason yourself to say that it's wrong to go around in a tank killing people.
And apparently neither do you.
Well, no, I do.
That's the point.
Dude, you're concocting this elaborate scenario where God tells somebody, it's
never elaborate. He's done it so many times, or he just does it himself.
When has God told somebody to go around in a tank killing people?
He's never told them to do it in a tank, but he tells Moses and Aaron and possibly, Moses and Aaron for sure, go out and slaughter all the Midianites and kill all the women and the babies except for the young little girls. You can keep them.
Right, and it wasn't
he's
murder.
Done this before.
Right, but it wasn't murder because it was righteous. It was done righteously.
How do you know it was done righteously?
I saw somebody in the chat said crusades. Nice try. I'm not Catholic. Doesn't count.
How do you know that it was righteous?
Eric, we don't need to know. It's not. dude, you're not God.
Your arguments are so stupid. Look.
Eric,
your worldview doesn't allow you to distinguish right from wrong, blah, blah, blah. Okay, tell me something that... Okay, well, here's a fuzzy example in your ethical worldview. Well, but it wasn't that because we know that it was righteous. How do you know that? Well, we don't even need to know it.
But dude, according to your morality, it's not wrong to drive around in a tank killing people.
And
So
neither,
is
and
yours
it's
any
not
better?
wrong in yours either.
Is yours? No, it is wrong because of my objective
It's wrong
morality.
for the people.
I
It's
would pick
wrong to
up
the
my
people
Bible.
being killed.
I
It's
would
certainly
pick up
wrong
my
to the people
Bible.
being killed. But in
I
your
have
worldview, all it has to do is be sponsored by God, and then it's not wrong.
But that scenario has not happened anytime recently. So it has nothing to do with what we're doing now. So all I would do is I would pick up my Bible. I would say, this is objectively wrong. And because you don't have objective morality, you can't actually say it's wrong.
You don't have objective morality.
I do. I would pick up my
No, you
Bible and I would
don't.
say, this is wrong. We shouldn't do this. Whereas you don't have objective
Do
morality.
what? What shouldn't we do?
We shouldn't drive around in a tank killing people.
What if the people in the tanks had belt buckles that said God on our side, which they did?
You're concocting an elaborate scenario, but ironically, you're fine with that, aren't you?
No.
Of course you are, because on what basis is it wrong
Okay,
to go
if you
around?
call me a Nazi sympathizer, I'm never talking to you again, okay?
On what basis is it wrong to go around in a tank killing people, Eric?
It violates the sovereignty of the individual
Why is it wrong to violate the sovereignty of the individual?
because it causes harm to the individual, and every single human, apart from people with psychopathy, agree that that harm is maladaptive.
Why is it wrong to harm people?
I I'm not answering your question
Exactly,
again.
because you have no basis for
I said
anything.
I'm not answering your question again.
Okay, why is it wrong to harm people?
I'm not answering your question again. I already
You don't
did.
have an answer.
Do you think I answered it. I'm not doing it again. Do you think it's wrong to harm people?
It's circular reasoning. What you have at the end of the day is circular reasoning. You're saying,
No,
oh, well,
because
it's wrong to
no,
harm
it's
people. It's
not.
wrong to
I
make
didn't
people.
say it's wrong because it's wrong.
You
You're
have
doing that.
Okay, then why is it wrong?
I'm not answering the question
Because you have no
again.
answer.
I
Because you have
answered
no
it.
answer.
You tell us. Look, again, you can pretend that I don't have the answer. He left. Okay, he left. All right. Well, that calls for a couple of. Oh, there we go. Cease was in here. He probably lost his freaking mind. I think he left. You blocked him? No, I didn't. It said the guest has gone offline. Oh, God. I wonder if his phone died because it did the coffee thing, and that's what happens when you go off the app. So, it's possible that his phone died. Well, I don't know. We can talk to a few other people, I guess. I'm gonna have to go at 8 o'clock, though. Hello? DJ? Nope, DJ left. Okay. Did I just say, oh God? Yes, I did. Hello?
Hey,
Attention
can you hear me?
deficit disorder? What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah?
Sweet. No, I just wanted to say, oh God, now I've forgotten it. Hold on. About the last guy. It was about the last guy. Hold on.
Oh,
Shit.
yeah, he was a goofy goober.
He made a really great, horrible fucking point, and I just wanted you to elaborate on
He
it
made
if
a
you
lot
could.
of them. I can't remember what they
Yeah.
all were.
Oh. It was justifying murder. Hold on. Oh, because God did it. He said, um, humans didn't, all the stuff you're quoting in the Bible, man didn't do it, God did it, and you basically made the argument like, well, he did it through man, so.
Yeah, I, I don't, I don't know. He didn't, I don't know.
Like
Oh
that,
man, I have
like
so many
that's,
people requesting. Sorry, what?
yeah, he was just trying to get away with like, oh, I just wanted you to elaborate on that a lot. Um,
Yeah,
hold on.
the thing is, they're guilty of exactly what you accuse them of because they will just flip anything and say, well, no, and then I didn't get to this point, but like, he started off like, well, let's say the people in Germany who couldn't see, the Nazis, they say they're right and you say they're wrong. What's it? How is it objective? What are you going to base it on? You can't distinguish. I was going to ask him, okay, there's some people over here who believe in God, and their God says do all these things. And then some other people over here who believe in God say, well, our God says not to do those things. You can't. So they're guilty of exactly what they accuse you of. And it's so silly. Nope, that guest went offline. Am I like just having bad connection issues? He's not here though. He's not in the guest box and he's not watching, so I don't know what's going on. And he didn't block me, so I don't know what the deal is.
What's going on, brother? Hey, yeah, I think your live is just kicking. I think your live is kicking. Like I glitched out for a second there, and then basically he disappeared. So I think maybe your connection's like glitching in and out. I just wanted to know, is that a personal fart bag that you have there?
It's a plushie.
Oh, okay.
I got it on Amazon. I didn't even know it farted. I just bought it because this guy I talked to talks about magic mud, and I thought this looked like magic mud. And then when I bought it, I realized that it farts. So
fantastic. It's fantastic. All right. I was gonna add to that. He does have somewhat of a point on that, because the reason that God actually told Israel to kill all these Moabites is because they would not stop killing the Israelites. They actually prayed.
The Israelites invaded their land and tried to take it from them.
No, man, you haven't read the Moabite stone?
I've read Exodus.
Have you read the Moabite stone that actually gives the story?
But the Israelites went into somebody else's land and like brutalized people and tried to take it, and so they fought back. And God helped Israel retaliate. Although it's not really retaliating when somebody.
That's not how it went down. They asked to
oh
pass
God,
through the
yes
land.
It is. Yes, it is.
No, it's how the scripture
The Moabites
goes.
lived there. The Israelites invaded a land that they weren't from.
They wanted to pass through the land. That's what they asked several times. And then the king was like, hey, let me get Balaam to actually put up alms and tell Israelites God ask Israelites God to give him the power to overcome them. And God said no like 4 times. And the guy kept asking. And he's like, no. And he's like, I'm just going to kill him anyways. And God said, well, attack him and wipe him out.
So the Israelites get to invade a land they're not from. The people in that land resist them. And then therefore that gives the people that are the invaders license to just commit mass genocide and wipe them off the face of the earth.
No, that's not what I said. What I said was
that's what happened.
No, that's not what happened. They asked to pass through the land peacefully. They didn't ask for anything. They said, we just want to pass through the land. That's all we want to do. All we want to do is cross over the land. That's it.
Do you think that the United States should open up its border to anybody coming through?
We already do. What are you talking about?
And you think we should, apparently?
I mean, we're not going to stop it. That's kind of the process.
Do you think we should? Do you think a world without borders should exist?
I mean, we're actually called the melting pot.
Do you think that we should?
I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that. I don't really care about that.
So you have an opinion when the Israelites do it.
No,
but now all of a sudden you don't.
No, I'm saying that if you were trying to pass over some land and you asked the guy, hey, look, I'm trying to cross the street. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah, why should they let them?
I don't know.
Whatever. Holy cow.
Oh, dang. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, Beaver?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm
That's
alright.
kind of first time watching your live and all that. I thought it was really good.
Sight.
Yeah, I guess from like I was just listening to all that, and I kind of lean more to like your side of things of thinking about things where I think the point you're trying to get out is like from their point of view, you can almost do anything you want as long as you have a perspective of like, oh, well, God told me to do it. It's fine. Right. Versus like from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, from like your understanding and perspective, it's more of like we shouldn't do those things because it harms us as a species going forward. Like if we all kill each other, then we all just cease to exist in a way.
Yeah, like that is the objective. And again, then they try to say, why should we like if like this is the thing about objective and like having objectives or objectively, right? So
Right.
that can be the objective, but then they'll say, well, why should we even have that objective? The That's not really the question if you ask me. It is an objective, right? So
Right.
I'm not asking you to derive an ought from an is, but they are like even if I were to say that that's what we should do, then they would be like, well, you can't get an ought from an is. And then I asked him, is God good? And he said yes. And I was like, so we ought to do what he says. And then after the dial-up internet sounds went off or were done in his brain,
Exactly.
then I don't remember what his response
So
was, but
I want to bring up another point for something. I've had this discussion before previously. I've had some very religious people in my life too talk about these things. And, ultimately for them, it's getting to be with God, being up in heaven or whatever that is, that ultra grandeur, for them. And so they quote unquote, you're supposed to live your life as God lived his life to do that. And so my question always was, all right, well, what, like your goal is to get to heaven. What do you have to do that? And they're like, well, ultimately all you have to do is accept Jesus into your heart and that's it. And I was like, well, then you can literally do anything you want as long as you meet that
yeah,
requirement, you truly love him. That doesn't
saved through faith or saved through grace alone.
exactly.
Yeah,
That
it's
doesn't make much sense to me at all. Where it's like you could literally and I was like, you can literally do anything you want as long as that you have that one requirement. You're fine. And
yeah,
and then they always argue, well, then you're supposed to live your life like God. And what's like, well, that's a suggestion. All you really need to get in there is just to believe in God or Jesus or whatever, accept into your heart. That's what I've heard. I mean,
yeah. Well, I
I don't know if
mean,
that's what you
a Catholic would say it's works and faith. A Protestant
right.
wouldn't, you know. But then also, I had a really interesting conversation with somebody where I kept asking them, why does hell exist?
Hmm.
That's an interesting one too. What is the point of sending people to hell? And if you can really ask questions around that in a good way, there's also like they blank and they have nothing to say for that because they say like it's all about justice or whatever. Like where's
Well,
the
yeah, but there's
justice?
no
What is the
justice.
purpose of them being punished? And it's
Yeah.
either going to be for some vindictive sadomasochistic desires that God has, which what is the value in any of that? Or they
And my
say it's
argument
because he
for
loves them,
sorry, go ahead.
but you can ask them like, can you like if you have eternal punishment without forgiveness, where's the love? And there
Yeah.
isn't any. Like in the Black Eyed Peas song, you know?
I would even cut it in front of that where it's like, so hell exists to punish people that do wrong, but it doesn't matter what I do as long as I accept Jesus in my heart and all that, I get into heaven. So like, for example, I mean, you could look at like Jeffrey Dahmer, person that towards well at the very end of
Yeah.
he did all the serial killers, and then he was like, oh, I'm gonna find God, found God, and they're like, well, yeah, but God, whoever the guy killed him, in prison that like so like he gets into heaven because he accepts and he murdered all these people and that's okay, but like if I don't accept God into my heart and I go live a meaningful life, don't do anything to hurt other people's sovereignty and all that, I go to hell because I don't believe in that. That's where I go.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me. But yeah, I'll let you get on with other people if you'd like. I'm just throwing out other ideas and conversational stuff. I'm not going to really argue the point of God. I've looked a lot into it, and it makes no logical sense to me. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for coming up.
yeah, thanks, Igor.
Guys, I only got about 10 more minutes. I'm doing a podcast episode tonight, and I need to go over my notes for that. So, but we'll talk to a few more people. Hello, Nate Dogg, what's up?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, I think you are a very smart intellect, and I agree with you in a lot of things. I grew up Christian, and I kind of moved away from that. I kind of moved to more of there are many paths to the same hill or top of the hill. Again, I'm not here to argue anything with you. I wanted to just express I think you're very smart, and I think that a lot of the things that you say are very factual, and I don't think anyone should really kind of argue against it. I just wanted to agree with you.
Oh, I
Nothing
thought
to
you were
argue
going to
with.
say but.
No. There's no but in that. No. You're a very smart dude, and I've watched a lot of your videos, and I've thought that a lot of the things that you say, you bring up very factual points, and you bring up a very intellectual point, and we have to deal with in reality. We have to deal with what is. I've heard this before. Some of three of the most dangerous words that you can say is should, could, and would.
Should,
Those are the
could.
three most dangerous words you can say because you can only deal with what's in reality. And again, I don't want to take up more of your time. I just want to tell you that I agree with a lot of your points, and we might not be we might not be on the same belief point, but I agree with a lot of things you say. You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, I just wanted to say I watched I watched the whole. I was there right at 7 o'clock because um, I was just excited for it, and that couldn't have been any better. That live, I really
Yeah,
wish there was more.
including the rage quit.
Yeah, I went and followed him too, so that like if he comes back with you at any point, dude, I'm gonna be right there. It was just great watching you like literally have him pull apart his own argument right in front of his eyes, and it was beautiful. And I just want to appreciate you for it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even hard to do, you know.
No, it wasn't.
But thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, yeah, you have a good one.
You too. Okay. Hello, Cars. What's up?
I just wanted to come on here real quick. Yeah, I agree with you on all these takes. It's just I wanted to talk to you real quick if you know about the Epicurean paradox.
Yeah. Is something good just because God commands it, or does God only command good things? Right.
I think that's one interpretation of it. I'm mainly talking about the whole full paradox of if God exists and he's all powerful, all knowing, and all present.
Oh yeah, why does
should
he
be
allow
able to
evil
prevent.
to exist? Right?
Exactly.
Like he can't be all good and all loving and all powerful. Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, you're.
So do you agree with that?
You're right. I was thinking of Euthyphro, not the Epicurean. My bad.
Gotcha. So do you agree with that paradox existing? Or as a major takeaway from the Christian religion?
I think so, but I think also at the end of the day, you know, somebody could possibly say, what their response probably would be something like, it's not up to us to decide what God's intentions and wills are, or something like that. It's kind of like, I've been reading this book here where the guy goes over all the arguments that creationists come up with against evolution, and a lot of the arguments are God wouldn't allow blankety blank blank blank, and one of the common things the person argues, the person doesn't argue God doesn't exist. The person argues it's not up for us to decide what God would or wouldn't do, right? So I think you could kind of always fall back on that, but at the same time, it's like, no, I mean, how is allowing evil to exist
A
being
good
all
trait.
good when you could?
Exactly.
To me, I don't know. I don't think it's a good response, but I think it's what they could say.
I feel like there's a massive misconception of how a god could exist. Of course, they could be all evil or good, but in order to be all evil or like all good, they would have to be like making a universe that's predominantly one trait. Instead, I think the Bible more teaches the whole idea of God's neutrality. Instead of just being all evil or all good, he's instead a completely neutral entity that has the power to do all these things, but instead decides not to in order to enact a free will that he envisions, even though, due to his
Yeah.
own nature of being omniscient, can't exist.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be a problem without the baggage of absolutism.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's really that's sort of where you get backed into a corner every time. Okay.
Well, that was nice talking to you. I hope to be in more lives soon, more of your lives. I kind of wanted to hop in and talk with the other dude about his takes. I was like, man, I really have a lot of arguments against Christianity because I do my own lives and do like a
I think
religious
he's really
takes and stuff like
desperate for like traffic. So if you just like make videos, you could like he has videos, so you could like stitch them and be like, yeah, here's why that's wrong. So you can engage that way.
that. Yeah. Also, do you know who Threes Brooks is?
All right, everybody, let's see it. Now, you see, the Bible actually teaches us that it's always objectively wrong to do an abortion because blah, 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 blah. And also, that guy is such...
So like, have you ever
And his
considered,
followers slurp him so much. And it's so unbelievably cringe because he doesn't say anything.
on God? So like, have you ever just considered like having a duo live with him where you guys talk about him? Like,
I would, perhaps. I would never ever do like stitch one of his videos because what he does is I've had other people who I'm not going to name do this. They say some bullshit. You make a video talking about the bullshit, and then what they do is they basically gaslight. They're like, "Well, I never said that blah 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 and blah blah blah. What I was saying is such and such." Or they'll do this thing where they like, "I agree," and then they will not talk
agree,
about what
yeah.
you just said. They'll give their own version and interpretation, and the actual like the dishonesty of that is never translated through the videos. It's just their audience watches what they're saying, and not understanding what you said, and then the other way. So I would never ever stitch a video, but I would talk to him. I wouldn't. It'd be fine. It wouldn't bother me.
Well, free live idea that would probably get a lot of views. I know he has a lot of followers.
Possibly. I've never seen him do a live stream, but
Me neither, but I feel like he wouldn't shy away from it. He seems like a dude who likes to, or is open to theology.
I just
debates and
don't
stuff.
understand why he always has the camera way up here.
I think he's more just trying to do that whole like edgy 14-year-old like, oh,
I
this
don't know.
is my
I don't
best
know what-
angle.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
All
like Brody, all right, well, I mean, it was nice talking to you.
You too. I got to try to maybe get to a couple other people, and then I got to get out of here and get ready for this podcast.
How's it
Hello,
going?
Jim Knight? Oh, it's going okay.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say that my superior objective morality is subject only to the will of God.
What?
I was just making a joke.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
from
it sounded
the
like a
original
joke,
video.
but I like. No, I think you actually did a good job, but like, it still is nonsense. So I was like, what?
That would be a legitimate argument that you get up here, I'm sure. So I should have been a little more
Basically.
clear that it was a joke, but yeah.
No, I mean, you did it.
I
You
love
did a
your
good job. I mean,
lives.
the point was to be sarcastic, and you did well.
Well, I love your lives.
Well, thank you. Well, I
Keep-
think. Oh, you cut out.
Oh, my connection sucks, but I just said I love your lives. I love your content. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great.
All right, thank you. Cody Allen is up next. It says I lost connection. Oh, won't work. Oh my god. Munch wants in so bad. Yeah, what do you want?
Oh wow, no way. This is my first time coming on live. I
Cool.
just wanted to say I appreciated your conversation with men of God. I've always kind of been raised in a Christian environment, and that question has always been interesting to me. Of how do we like justify like the very not like meta philosophical, but like you know what I mean? Like how do we you know I'm kind of having a hard time trying to explain, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Just your conversation with that was very enlightening, and I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It'll go on YouTube soon-ish,
Right. Have a
so
good
you can
day.
revisit it. Well, thanks for the support. All right, this is the last guest I have, so and I did say I need to leave.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Kelly.
Hi, this is my first time on your live. So yeah, I pretty much don't believe in a god. Um, so I agree. I agree with a lot of stuff you say. So my
Do you believe in
conversations that
Spanky though?
yes, he's right. He's physically there. So yes. I guess conversations that I've had recently with people is like, well, why do you decide to do good things if you're not going to be, go to heaven in the end? So that's
Do,
the reason why I don't agree
if you
with
need
not just
coercion, then it's
Christianity.
not good.
Yeah, in our most religions, it's the same concept of like, oh, I'm going to give to charity because it makes me feel good or because I'll get noticed for it, not for the fact that, oh, it's helping people's lives.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I give food to the homeless 4 days a week just because it's the right thing to do.
Right. No, I just coming by to say hi.
All hail Spanky. If
Nice.
you guys want all hail Spanky stickers, you got to get on my mailing list.
That's awesome. We'll do. Well, that's all I had to say is that it's just kind of a ridiculous concept that
A little
people,
bit.
it seems very selfish to me, actually. But yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming up.
Thanks.
I want to talk to my evil twin before I go. If that's what my evil twin wants.
Oh, this is random.
A little bit. So, how'd you think it went?
You didn't answer my question. You didn't answer my question.
I
No, you didn't answer I know you just answered my question, but you didn't answer my question. Where's your morality come from?
Not from the theory of evolution. Not really.
Every time it's the same things they say, and then you answer it and they don't like it, and then you reverse it back on them about like, okay, well, God says to do this, and you said there's objective morality, and then he said to go against that objective morality, and they go, but God could do that.
Yep. 'Cause
That's
it
okay if
wouldn't-
God
it
does
wouldn't be
it.
wrong anymore. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to let my dog out, but yeah, it was exactly what I thought it would be from him.
I didn't think he would rage quit like that. Although I'm not 100% sure what happened.
Yeah, it could have been a rage quit. It could have just been he was tired of the conversation, and I don't know, thought he won and then walked away. Like it happens.
I don't know. What's
But,
really
yeah.
annoying is he said he recorded the whole thing, so I'm sure he'll upload it. And he'll probably try to find a way to edit it
Oh,
to
of
get me
course.
to say that I can't denounce the you-know-whos.
Yep, and he'll go, see, atheists can't even deny it.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, it's it's classic, classic.
Yeah. Probably not going to subject myself to that ever again, but
Yeah. Well, I keep saying that, and then I bring people up, and then I'm like, okay, never mind.
Ooh,
I
those
keep
are
doing
actually really sticky.
Ooh.
I got the sticky stickers. All hail Spanky.
I got noticed today in public.
Really? That's only ever happened to me one time.
Yeah, it was a little weird. It was someone I knew.
That would be. I just laughed. I just burst out laughing when it happened. And
For
funny
me,
enough, I was actually thinking about it right before it happened. I was just like, what if somebody just like came over and was like, "Are you Planet Peterson?" And then like 5 or 10 minutes later, it happened, which proves that God exists.
there you go.
Dude,
How else would you explain that?
do you know who the millennial apologist is?
Yes.
Did you see his? Maybe you saw Dan McClellan's stitch of him where he talked about how the Bible talks about technology and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
Oh, that was so incredibly stupid. I'm gonna stitch it sometime soon here, but I'm just basically gonna be like, here's the equivalent of what he did. I wrote a book, and in this book it says things will happen. I have now prophesized every single major world event for the rest of history by saying things will happen. Because the dude, I don't remember what it just said. He took like the most vague, nondescript thing and said that this talks about technology and artificial intelligence and there was a couple other things too, cars and phones. When all it said was it said knowledge will increase. And
Knowledge
he
will
said
increase.
that's the internet and that's cars and people. Historically, people never left their own town, and I was like, what?
Knowledge will increase. That meant iPhones.
Yes,
Planet
yes. So
Peterson, obviously.
in a book, and this book is true. That proves it. I'm going to amend my book, and in chapter 1, I'm going to write things will happen.
Oh, man. I came across alive today this new guy named Jacob, and his thing said, "Evolution is stupid. Prove me wrong." And every person that came up that talked about any sort of science, she just went, "Nope, nope." It's so frustrating. Like anything. And actually, someone had a good question to him. They said, "Have you heard anything yet that has changed your mind or something you didn't know? Like, have you learned anything?" And all he said was, "No, all the arguments are stupid." He's like, "Well, that just tells me that you're not actually like listening or trying to learn anything. It just means that you're just here to say you're wrong no matter what." Because even I could admit, like, people come up and teach me things. I've learned something from Christians, right? But the moment you say, "Nope, it's all stupid. You're all stupid," I don't think you're actually like trying to learn anything.
Yeah. Well, as they say, theories pass, the frog remains. Yeah. Have you seen that? I don't know when he started doing this, but like Bible Guy has gone like full, like, I think he's actually gonna crusade.
Oh God, I've not seen him. I think he's
His
blocked me
now
on everything.
background thing says the Quran is of Satan or is from Satan. And I scrolled by and he was talking to some dude the other day and he's like, yeah, chill out, dude. I know you're a child of Satan and you don't have the Holy Spirit in you, but just shut up and listen to me for a second.
Damn.
I was like, you've like really turned into a piece of shit. Like, what the hell?
They tend to do that.
Yeah.
I gave him a smackdown of a lifetime. Now he can't, he turned around and is like, "I'll attack Muslims instead now."
Yeah, he's got a hate fetish for them.
Yeah. I've not seen him. I think I'm blocked on everything.
Yeah, whatever.
All his 20 accounts that he has.
All right. Well, I said I was going to leave, and now I actually am going to leave because I need to be prepared for this. Well, wow, why is it okay to attack Christians? Who did that? Nobody did that. All right. Well, good night, everybody.